I have an early gift for Shopify developers building apps on Gadget. As of today, you can hook into Gadget's adaptive rate limiter that manages Shopify's API rate limits when you are manually querying or writing data to Shopify. So for a little bit of background, if you haven't built a Shopify app on Gadget before, Gadget has a built-in Shopify data sync. And what it will do is pull data from a Shopify shop as quickly as possible. We do have that adaptive rate limiter built under the hood. There's a blog post and a little blurb in our docs with more information if you're interested in learning how it works. But we effectively max out the rate limit for whatever store to make sure that data is flowing into your Gadget database as quickly as possible. So whether the store is on a standard Shopify plan, or it's a plus store or platinum store that is able to pull with the higher rate limits, Gadget will max that out. Problem was there's no way to hook into that rate limiter when you are either writing data or querying some other data that isn't in your Gadget database, and then you need to process it. So we have built on top of our background jobs system, our background action system, a way to hook into that rate limiter, whether you do need to process the response or if you just want a resilient and durable write to Shopify. Now, using background actions is also nice because instead of waiting here in your action code and retrying and having some sort of back off, that was charging Gadget action time. When you shift to background actions, the enqueued time or time spent enqueued is now shifted to Gadget. So you're not actually paying for that. So there's a little bonus for billing as well. Let's walk through the first one first, the first case. So here I've got an action. I'm just creating a product. I've got my response, and then I'm going to go ahead and process this data. I could, I'm not actually doing anything here, but I might, create some variants, etc. So I want to go ahead and add this entire action to the context of this rate limiter. And when the rate limiter determines there is space and it is likely to succeed, it will go ahead and run this action. So I'm enqueuing this action right here. This is process shop data is where I'm actually writing to Shopify, getting the response and doing something. I'm just using api.enqueue. It's how you add actions to our background action system. This is my api.process shop data action, and I'm just adding my current Shopify shop ID as context, and that will automatically hook into that rate limiter. So if I go ahead and run this, null, because I'm not actually returning anything from this action here. But if I check my logs, I should see my Shopify data. So this is the actual response from my process shop data action. It's actually the response from the write to Shopify. So if I check out my store, give it a refresh, I should see a cool hat, not unlike the one I'm wearing now. And if I flip back to Gadget, go to my background action queues, and just, there we go. So I do see my process shop data. I am returning the response here, so I can see the results of this enqueued action as well. And this completed output is just what I'm returning down here. It's the same response. So that's one way to do it. If you're processing data, this is a great way to hook into the rate limiter if you need to process that response in some way and do some follow-up action. If you just need to go ahead and write data resiliency, you don't need to process the response or log anything afterwards, you can also do that. So if I go over to this resilient write action, looks pretty similar. I am just getting my built-in Shopify API client. It is just Shopify API node under the hood. And instead of enqueuing another action, I'm actually just enqueuing this Shopify GraphQL. This is the same thing we used here to go ahead and run our mutation. I'm enqueuing this directly, adding my mutation as a query. And once again, just creating a product. This time, warm socks. I'm not going to show my socks on camera. But what this will do is just automatically enqueue this right. And let's try it out. So instead of enqueuing a separate action, I'm just enqueuing the call to Shopify right away. If I refresh my store, hopefully the action is run. Warm socks. Awesome. If I go back to Gadget here, I should see something in my logs. I do see that, the webhooks are running. It was created. This is all just webhooks. Let's just check out the background queue system. There we go. If I GraphQL, so I can see I do have the response from my attempt. If I do fail, if my write fails, I will also see the stack trace here, and I get the mutation and variables that were run with my query. Now, there is still a chance that you could hit a 429 and Shopify's rate limits. If you're enqueuing directly using background actions, they'll be taken care of. The background action will automatically retry the request. If you're enqueuing your full action that manually calls Shopify, the Shopify API node does have retries built in as well. And you may want to add a bit of 429 logic just in case. We do recommend calling Shopify right away when this action is dispatched and run. If you're doing, a couple minutes of processing and then calling Shopify, the state of the world may change. We don't know if there's gonna be rate limit available. So I just wanted to add that little disclaimer. So happy holidays. Nice little treat before the break. If you have any questions about this, ask us on our developer Discord or check out our documentation. Until next year, I hope you keep building more and coding less with Gadget.